Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of EQ How To. So let me ask you a question. What do you think is the best way to show up every day completely motivated on your game, even on those days that are a little bit adverse? Well, psychologist Angela Duckworth has been doing research and studies on this for years. And here's what she has found. That those people who are successful at showing up just like that every day have one quality in common, and that is grit. She defines grit as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. What she has found is that people who have grit, this quality drives them to not just be successful, but to master the very skills that they not only are good at, but what they love to do and are passionate about. She also discovered in her research that grit is not something that we're born with. And I love that because that means that we can all build grit if that's what we're looking for. So I have for you 5 EQ how-to tips for building a grittier you. And the first one is they develop their emotional intelligence, which, listen, I'm all about that because here at Talent Smart, we certainly have cornered the market on emotional intelligence. And here's what people with grit agree about emotional intelligence is that they look at their emotions and they treat them as data. We talk about that all the time here at Talent Smart, is allow your emotions to tell you something. So if somebody with grit is feeling anxious or overwhelmed, they pause and they ask themselves the question, why? And then they analyze it and then they do something with the data. The second tip I have is that people with grit, they don't need the approval of others. Here's the thing, their sense of satisfaction comes from within. They do not ignore the critics. They actually take feedback, both the positive feedback and the not so positive feedback, and they try to analyze that to understand what that is telling them as well. People with grit understand that other people have different ways of looking at things. So you might get some feedback that doesn't make sense at first, but really asking some qualifying questions, clarifying questions to understand what that means helps people with grit really become even more successful. My third tip is they make the most of good days and they make the best of bad days. So what people with grit understand is when they're having an amazing day, this is the day to tackle the big stuff. It might be moving a bigger project on that day because they know they're going to knock it out. They also know that it's a day that they might be able to add something to their plate, just briefly, because they're on this supercharged moment. But likewise, they do pay attention to when they're having a bad day. So that what they do with that is they might take something off of their plate that needs their full, undivided attention and motivation and maybe move it to tomorrow. What they also do is they understand that this is a day that maybe they need a little bit of self-care. So it could be going to the gym a little longer, or it could be taking a longer walk, or it could just be taking some time for them so that they don't have another bad day tomorrow. My fourth EQ how-to tip is that they have a growth mindset and they use long-term vision to fuel themselves. So having a growth mindset means that they, with grit, are looking to see how else can I improve myself. It might be something as simple as taking a class online for a day or a week. It could be attending a workshop or a webinar or a seminar. Those things sometimes might seem tedious, but what they do is they fuel themselves with the longer vision. So if they see that there's a one-day workshop that they should attend to build for the bigger picture that they have, they're willing to do that because they understand that it's going to give them some extra ammunition to be even more successful at what they want to be successful at. And my fifth EQ how-to tip for building a grittier you is that they don't sweat the hypotheticals because they know that they are always going to show up and perform their very best. So think about it this way. People with grit, what they're not doing is sitting around worrying about the what could be's or the what ifs. They certainly put them into perspective and they understand that there could be a road bump along the way. But what people with grit do is they don't sit there worrying about it because they know that no matter what happens, they're going to find a way to continue to be successful during that project. Those are my 5 EQ tips for building a grittier you. Start with 1 or 2 of those strategies and continue to build that and build a grittier you to be more successful this year and even down the future. I also want to remind everybody, please take a look at our website, talentsmarteq.com, and go to the events tab. If you or somebody in your organization is looking to get certified on one of our Mastering Emotional Intelligence programs, that is where you're going to find the information. Of note, mid-April, we will be in person in Hotlanta. So if you want to come to Atlanta or you live in Atlanta, it's a great opportunity for you to come in person and get your training there. In the meantime, if we don't see you there, hope to see you back here for another installment of EQ How To.